I'm Rob Nelson, and I'm the creator and author of SageLight. What I'd like to discuss today is the quick edit mode. When you open up a file, such as this one, the first mode that you come into is the quick edit mode. And when you execute other functions, we have the filters in here where you can do, I don't know, you can do all sorts of crazy effects, or you can do more you can do more enhancement effects like the photo filter and all of that. Or you have a lot of these image modes where you can crop your image if you want, or what have you. But you always end up returning to the quick edit mode, because this is where you make all of your basic edits enhancement wise to your image. So when you first come in to the quick edit mode, you have your toolbar over here. Let's dismiss that right now because we don't really need that, since we're focusing on the quick edit mode. You also have a lot of controls where you can zoom in and out of the picture, and you can look at the before and after picture, and then you can just go click this button here and it'll just fit it to the screen. The first thing that you want to do when you come into the quick edit mode is to do the auto color at auto levels. Most of the time this helps your picture out. Not always. There's a it depends on your picture. Some I would say 90% of the time it either helps your picture, or it may not make a difference, but it doesn't make it worse. There are some pictures like plants and things like that where you have to work with it a little bit. Now this is a subject of this auto levels and auto color box is a subject of another video, so I'm just going to pass through this, but it comes up with the setting that helps most pictures the best. And so I'm just going to press accept here. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to do a general tour of the quick edit box, but I'm also going to want to show how powerful it is by just, there are 2 slider movements. I did the auto color 2 slider movements, and already I've got quite a difference in the picture. So a lot of times you don't really have to do a lot, but if we step back and start with what I did just after the auto color. In fact, if I go back to the original, if I press here, it'll say redo the auto levels and then redo the apply that I did, but I'm going to start with right after I did the auto levels. Before we continue, I should mention that if you haven't used SageLight before, these videos are a bit of a poor example, because I think I'm getting something like 6 frames per second. The resolution is very low, like there's all this banding in here, and when I move in and out, when you use SageLight, this is real time, this is very fluid, and all the controls are very fluid, but on the video it just doesn't come across because of the you have to slow it down, and to get the compression ratios, all of this gets degraded. So please bear that in mind. So what we've done so far is we've just done one function. We've done the auto levels and auto color. After that, we can do a number of things in the quick edit mode. The place I usually start is in the RGB adjust, and what these controls do is they adjust the light in your image. Each slider does a different thing based on their label. For instance, shadows adjusts the shadows up or down, and the low contrast adjusts the low tone contrast. You can see it's not really touching the high areas as much as it's touching the low areas, and the brightness is more the middle of the image, and then the highlights adjust, obviously the highlights. These controls were engineered over really quite a period of time to really work together to get the best effect for your image while working together, and they also work together with the color tonal controls and the saturation and the fill light. SageLight was designed so that you don't have to be intentional with your image. You can bring in this image and just play with the controls, and just as things develop and you see what you like, you can just go with it. Even if I say oversaturate it and then I come back a couple minutes later and realize that's too bright, I can always just start over. I can completely start over, or I can go anywhere in the edit history I can load any state. McAfee, it's something like 5 times a day. I can just experiment, and I think that's really just the basic rule of SageLight is to experiment. It was made for that. I think it's a way to get a much better picture, and I really think it makes editing that much more fun. So now that I've balanced the picture, I can just play around with it and get a result that I like just by playing around. The only thing I'm really looking at is I don't want to wash out the highlights. Maybe in some images I do. In this particular one, I'm trying to preserve these. SageLight really does work to preserve those areas for you. But it's just a matter of just playing with the controls until you get what you're looking for or what strikes you. Like I said, you don't need to be intentional as much as you can just play around and suddenly get something that you like quite a lot. Like, for instance, that looks pretty good. In fact, we can compare this to what I did earlier. I don't know if it's, I may have, so if I go back here to where I did the auto levels and color and I do the fill light and the saturation just like I did before, what I can do is I can go back in the edit history and I can compare the two. It's pretty much a wash. I like the fact that this is darker in here, but maybe I want to fill this a little bit. So maybe I'm starting to like this a little bit better, and then what I can do is I can also, with the color toner, I can add a tone. Now a trick that we can do is in the histogram. The histogram, that shows you what's going on with your image. Like I said, you can just be intentional, not to worry about what the curves are doing, but you can see exactly what's going on with your histogram by just opening up the histogram window, and it will show you the curve. And you can, right here, you can see how these curves were designed to work together. See, I'm playing around with them, basically have made no change, because they're working together harmoniously to protect your picture, but also to make the changes that you want. What you'll see in the histogram is you'll start to see little differences. The curve will look like it's warping a little bit, and what that is these curves working together. What you're seeing here is a composite curve. There's upwards of 10 to 15, maybe even 20 curves sometimes working together to change your image. And what you're seeing here is the composite of all those curves. Since SageLight is working at 16 bits per channel, and these curves are basically functions of each other, that you end up getting a pretty clean curve out of it.